How important is it to get equity funding in early? Should most startups or early stage businesses try and get going as far as they can without getting external investors in?
I've got an opinion, a personal opinion on this, because I've been down both roads fairly recently. I spent last year treading the pavements, talking to every VC that purportedly did early stage funding.
All three of them.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's two.
One. Yeah, well, it depends what day you got them on. And, you know, and that was really based on having a very minimum viable product, some decent IP. And I ended up spending a lot of time in that process. So actually, you know, how important is it to spend the time doing that versus concentrating on the product? Concentrating on getting that product into the people that will tell you that you've actually got a product in the first place. Actually, what I've come to realize is it's not that important. The important part is actually building something that adds significant value, that is just useful to the people you're building it for, and proving that. And I believe at that point, the need to tread the pavements and the need to continually build those relationships in a sort of forced way, the need to do that diminishes because it's a much more organic process. That's my understanding.
David, you got it because you've now 3 businesses in, so I imagine you probably see both sides of what my question is.
Yeah, I think there's a number of things that come into answering your question. I think if you are a capital-intensive business, and then to get the business off the ground, you require significant capital, then you have no option but to tread the boards until you can do it. If you've got a business which is, you can start off doing something and you can grow, and you can start to prove success and you can start to drive it, to me, that's the way to do it. I think, following on from your point, is most of the people that I've done businesses with, or I've seen through experience of other people, are not inherently tuned to get investment. They're not experts in how to walk the floors, who to talk to, how to present themselves, what makes a good case. They're brilliant at entrepreneurs at doing their job, so they're better off getting that side going much better and trying to find or partner up with somebody who has more experience of that area. And finally, the reality is, I don't think many of those people chomp up a lot of cash if you haven't got a proven business model or something that's scalable and sellable.
Well, I think
therefore you end up giving a truckload of it away that you don't want to give away.
I think a lot of people think they have capital-intensive businesses without the necessary processes in place to realise that it's not necessarily that capital-intensive as a startup building process, you know. Is these days with the tools, the resources, the frameworks, you know, the technical skills, etc., that are available, and actually it's an attitudinal thing and an educational thing rather than a physical restriction.
No, Mark, I just want to come to you too as well. Also, because I noticed we had our people in from the co-angel investor funds and everything, and I noticed that they're all very generous, and they started at a nice low hundreds of thousands of pounds. We all know, I suspect that's possibly not always the case, and that's probably quite often a few million most of the time, I imagine. That therefore, you know, frankly, does it make no sense really if your turnover is probably only worth, you know, up to $1 million, something like that? You know, equity funding is not really. Or am I wrong?
I would say it's mostly down to growth potential, and evaluating that potential is not straightforward. It goes for the small startup, product-led startup. Where quite clearly most founders will be very driven to show how they have a business that they've created on the back of their bedroom that they value at 10 million, and they may be right, but then it's down to them finding the investors that also believe in that. So it's understanding the potential of the business and lining up the visions of the founder with the vision of investors. And it may be right sometimes. It may be right that in some cases people that want to raise 100k have clear plans for creating a 50 million pound business overnight. But it's not that easy to find that alignment. And from my experience as an investor, it's more than 9 out of 10 founders are pretty much daydreaming.